I'm Nick Pearce. I'm from a company called Object Matrix. We're a Welsh storage company, fastest growing storage company in Wales. So I'm going to ask you a question. Some of you may have seen this question before, but surprisingly, every 6 months, the answer changes. So how heavy is a petabyte? And first of all, anyone not know what a petabyte is? It's okay, you can put your hands up. Okay, so it's 1,000 terabytes. Okay, in the year 2000, there were probably about 3 or 4 organizations that had a petabyte of storage, and these days it's more like 10 to 15,000 companies. So in bare disk alone, hands up, in kilograms, how heavy is a petabyte? Jeremy? Come on.
Really heavy.
Proper heavy. Come on, there's the engineers in here. Throw a number out. Someone, not moving on until someone says a number.
A ton.
A ton, here you go. And you saw the presentation, yes. So 1980, which isn't, not that long ago, it weighed 250,000 tons and cost $40 billion to get a petabyte. And, things have moved on significantly. Today, we're looking at more like 160 kilos, which is a couple of one of my customers, as opposed to an oil rig. So what this is telling us actually is that it's become more and more feasible and affordable in terms of cost and sort of footprint to keep more and more information on disk. The problem is we're ingesting huge amounts of content, HD, 4K. I think the storage manufacturing community must have really lobbied for 4K. It means more disk or more tape sold. But how do you manage all that content coming in? Where do you put it? It needs to be accessed by people immediately. How do you protect it and guarantee that the content is authentic, that there hasn't been any sort of corruption during the transfer and after the transfer? And if you're doing this day in, day out, you need repeatable and automated processes. And then we have metadata. We want to be able to find this stuff. The metadata is the intelligent data about the content, what it is, what format. How are people managing? Well, the first is that we've got our production storage, whether it's an Xan, an ISIS, a Unity, and we'll just bolt a bit more on because I don't really know what else to do. I just need this information available. Your ISIS or your production storage should be there to guarantee streams of access to your editors. It's not there to protect large amounts of data. So this isn't the wisest way of spending your production budgets. Then we have Firewire drive madness. So we're replacing the tape that used to be on the shelf with Firewire drives. They're not fully utilized. They're probably not on the shelf. They're in someone's car or in someone's desk. And they may be £50 from Maplins, but the cost of actually not getting your data back when you need it is huge. And then we've got LTO, or any form of tape. Yes, LTO is there, or sort of deeper archive is necessary, but it can take a fair bit of time to get content back. So there's a bunker just up the road under Goode Street. There's 4 miles of underground tunnel that Eisenhower had 8,000 troops in, and now it's got 4 miles of different formats of tape. Winchester drives, Betamax, you name it, right? There's tons. There's actually some quite cheesy Benny Hill music playing at the moment that you can't see. Wow. Okay, this could go on for a while, right? But the point being is that down there are some pretty pale-looking individuals who barely see the light of day. They get a little number come down, I need to go and get this disc, and they run off and they go and find the tape and they bring it back, and then oh, that format doesn't fit in that drive, so I need to go and send it to a specialist company to do it. It's not always the case, but sometimes that legacy content can't be repurposed very easily because it is in an old format. And again, we're looking, therefore, to introduce tiers of storage to allow us to have our content on production disk, a Nearline, and tape, sorry, terrible joke, tears. So what's nearline storage? Nearline has been around for a long time in the IT world. It's a relatively new sort of phrase in this industry. And as the definition says, it's basically the middle tier between your online production storage and a more offline format. The main differences. So your online storage should be fast. It should really guarantee streams of access to your editors. It's not about keeping tons of content on it just to have it available, and generally can tend to cost a little bit more. But you are better off spending that money on that tier to ensure that you don't have inhibited workflows. You're then looking at a Nearline storage, which is able to look after more content, automate the protection of that content. It costs less, but you don't really need to manage it at all. But it provides the data to you at your fingertips at still reasonable speeds. And then LTO is your sort of deeper archive. It's less available if the content isn't in the drives. I'm making no friends with my LTO buddies over there, on that side. But it has its place. And the reality is that our customers, your customers and yourselves will want choice, and you will want to place your data on the appropriate tier of storage. So your Nearline storage should actually be a place where you can get hold of content when you need it. So it's actually a little bit of an online in that you might want to see what you've got in your Nearline before you bring it back to work on it. And it also might be actually part of a deep archive. You may want to keep stuff available on disk so you can repurpose it whenever you want to. And in that sense, it's hard to do that when it's on an LTO drive. It should be the hub of your organization in that your MAMs, your PAMs, your DAMs should be able to access it, and I know we talk about that later on. But also, you might want to give your clients access to the data that's ongoing. You might want to be able to share content to the promo teams, the audio teams. So it really is a case of being a hub. So our product, Matrix Store, is an object-based Nearline storage platform. Now, object-based storage, anyone heard of that? Not heard of that? Okay, it's slightly different to file-based, sort of directory-driven storage. So when you're storing stuff at the moment on your laptop, on your SAN, you're deciding where it goes in a directory tree. With object storage, you send it to the storage device, it decides where it goes in a massive pool of storage. You just get back an identifier, or it might be hooked into a MAM solution. You don't have to worry about where it is. You can assign policies to that object to say, right, this particular piece of data has to have 2 copies in 2 remote locations, and the solution will manage that for you. The third part of the object storage is the metadata. So we can actually keep the metadata close to the data, describing that data from now and in the future, allowing you to search your archive natively or through a MAM and a PAM. So there's quite a few things that we managed to do there. But as I mentioned, it needs to be a central hub in your ecosystem in that you don't want to learn new tools about storage. You guys want to be doing the creative side of the business and let the storage do the work for you. And that's what Matrix Store does in this space. So just to give you a brief overview, we can carve up a Matrix Store for several different workflows, treat data differently depending on how important it is to have it available. So we can have rushes going into one vault, we can have a Nearline space for parking, and also we can have archive. Some data is so important I need to have it go into a remote Matrix Store somewhere else, and other content I'm going to push down to LTO because I'd like to have that tangible copy, or the client wants it on LTO, or I need to put it into deep storage. So it then becomes more of a hub, allowing you to plan accordingly where your data goes. So of course, as a company, we're 10 years old this year. We've got a number of corporate, large companies, small companies, medium. There's solutions to suit all of the types of organizations. And my contact details are here. So I'm here for the panel. I'm also here all day. So if you have any questions about archiving on disk, about object storage, or how we can help you integrate into your workflows, then feel free to give me a chat.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.